Hey everybody, it's Mr. Jackson with Southeastern here, coming to give you guys a review for our Chapter 2 exam. So I just wanted to go over just a few concepts with you guys really quick. Remember that we will be taking our Chapter 2 exam on September 3rd, and then also that we will be transitioning this week for our new chapter on Chapter 3 to MyFire. MyFire Brightspace, and you can watch the previous video to kind of get an idea of what that is and then how to log in. But right now we're going to kind of review some of the objectives that were given in Chapter 2 and what our goals were. So our learning objectives for this chapter was to first understand how data is represented to a computer. So how information is transacted back and forth to our computer. And then identify the hardware located inside the system unit, where we talked about the motherboard, the CPU, all of those different things that actually are located within our computer. Then explain how the CPU works. Describe the different types of storage systems when we discuss RAM and ROM, and also the kind of freestanding storage systems that people can use, like the USB drives or the SD cards. Then we discuss the different types of input devices, so things that were connected within our computers. And then describe the output devices like our monitors, our scanners, different things that were actually connected outside of our computers. So just to kind of give you a brief overlay, when you guys are preparing for this test, you should go ahead and review the key terms. I know there's like around about 95 of them, but most of them are kind of self-explanatory, things that you guys have dealt with before, like ports. You know that you have USB ports on your computer. A scanner is something that helps scan different documents, and it's an input device. Then moving on from there, we have our mouses, which is an input device, our USBs and our USB flash drives. So we have USB connectors that are cords that connect other devices, display device, which is an output device, and then your different monitors. So there's a lot of different kind of key terms that are self-explanatory. So let's talk about what we learned in the different modules real quick. So in 2-1, understand how the data are represented to the computer. We learned about the binary code, which is our ones and zeros, and that's how the computer actually reads information is all geared towards ones and zeros. And you should have done that activity where I gave you the binary code and then you identify what that phrase meant. So that information is all kind of created into a bit. So our bit is the smallest unit of data that a computer can recognize, represented by those ones and zeros. And then our byte is a group of bits. And then a file, yeah, and I lost it. So our file is a named collection of bytes. So whenever we have information that's pulled together within a single, kind of like a single spot, that is your kind of file. So moving on to 2-2, we did discuss and identify the hardware located inside our computer. So we talked about the system unit, which houses processing hardware for the device. So if you have that desktop, it's whatever inside that tower. Also, if you got a laptop, it's whatever, is inside that spot where the keyboard is located. So our system unit. Then we have the motherboard, which is also inside the system unit, connects the components together to external devices via buses and ports. Then we have our CPU, which is our central processing unit, which is the processing for the computers and how well as it controls the different operations of the computer, so what you want it to do. Then we have our memory. So the primary memory is RAM, which actually stands for random access memory. So how fast the computer actually can randomly access important information to do things. Our external devices used to connect via USB port. So there's a ton of different devices, and I think it said 127 different devices can connect through USB ports. 2-3 explain how the CPU works. So most CPUs have multiple cores, and each core includes an arithmetic logical unit, and then a floating point unit, and a control unit, and a prefetch unit, and a decode unit. And remember, that goes over how information is processed, and then or data is processed to get information. So it goes along that line of going, where you have your logical unit, and then it goes to your spots for it to decode it, and then you have information after that. Also talked about your cache memory, and we talked about how you can clear cache to actually have a little bit your computer work faster. A system clock located on the motherboard synchronizes all the computer operations. Your machine cycle occurs whenever the CPU processes a single basic instruction. So whenever you tell your computer to do one thing, it's a machine cycle. Moving on to 2-4, we describe the different types of storage. So storage systems provide non-volatile storage, making it possible to save programs and data and processing. So the storage systems include your storage medium, so the hardware where the data is stored, the storage device, so where it's stored in, and then the hard drives store most of the programs that are in it. And we talked about the hard drives having that magnetic hard drive or the solid state drives, and the hybrid drives, which actually use those different chips. Our optical drives, we talked about those for using CDs, DVDs, and Blu-ray discs, and the ones that you're able to write and rewrite and kind of clear off CDs. So those are using optical drives and lasers. In 2-5, we identified the common input devices. So an input device is any piece of equipment to enter data into a computer, whether it's a keyboard, pointing device, touchscreen, scanners, barcode machines. So all those different types of things are your input devices. And then finally in 2-6, we identified and described common output devices, where we discussed those display devices, LCD screens, LED screens, all of those different types of displays, printers, everything that actually creates something due to its connection with the computer. So that's your output device. So as you guys are going through and getting ready for the exam, make sure that you complete your practice it assignments, your quiz yourself assignments, and then go back and look at your key terms. You might want to rewatch some of the videos, and then just study a little bit more. So I look forward to that, and then we will be moving on to chapter 3 at some point this week. And hopefully you guys are able to turn in all of your assignments on Wednesday when we have it for tomorrow. So thank you very much, guys, for watching our review. And I hope that you guys learned a lot in this module, and we'll keep moving forward.